to history's biggest tests while speaking to Republic. And on the show, history. Thank you for joining us on this special broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. As the Prime Minister turns 75, here on Republic TV, we capture the defining moments of the last 11 years when Prime Minister Modi has been on the Republic stage. From surging India to Viksit Bharat to the century of India, he's laid out his vision and India's response to history's biggest tests while speaking to Republic. And on the show, in the next 30 minutes, we bring you that journey in his own words on Republic.
The Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi.
जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, तो विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। सपने भारत के, सामर्थ्य भी भारत का।
In May 2024, Prime Minister Modi sat down for what would be his biggest, longest pre-election interview to date. A 90-minute conversation where he unveiled his vision, blueprint for a Viksit Bharat, which we talk about today. This was in a conversation with our editor-in-chief, Arnab Goswami.
अर्नब जी
नमस्कार। नमस्कार। कैसे हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी?
ठीक है, मजदूरी कर रहे हैं।
नहीं, आप इतना आजकल घूम रहे हैं और बहुत कैंपेनिंग बहुत इंटेंस है इस बार आपकी।
वैसे हर चुनाव में करते हैं, कोई ज़्यादा अलग से कर रहे हैं ऐसा तो नहीं है,
पर इस बार रोड शोज बहुत है आपके। ज़्यादातर हमने देखा कि
क्या है जी कि शाम को हमारा एक प्रॉब्लम ये है
जी,
ये हेलीकॉप्टर का प्रॉब्लम ये है कि सूर्यास्त के पहले आपको लास्ट डेस्टिनेशन छोड़ना
करना पड़ता है जी।
उसके बाद एक्चुअली कैंपेन के लिए 3-4 घंटे का सही समय होता है। अब वो मेरे जैसे को काम नहीं आता है, क्योंकि मेरे लिए तो फिर उसमें से मैंने एक रास्ता खोजा
जी
कि जहाँ मेरा डेस्टिनेशन ख़त्म हो जाता है तो मैं एक स्थान पे रोड शो कर लूँगा, तो एक एक्स्ट्रा कार्यक्रम मेरा।
प्रधानमंत्री जी, मैंने जो ऑब्जर्व किया आपको, आप बहुत मास कांटेक्ट, 1-to-1 कांटेक्ट करते हैं जब आप जाते हैं। मैंने देखा अहमदाबाद में एक बुजुर्ग महिला ने आके राखी भी लगाई है आपको।
जी।
तो उस तरह का कांटेक्ट जो है वो रैली से ज़्यादा इन रोड शोज में भी होता होगा।
वैसे रैली में भी अनुभव आता है, रोड शो में सिक्योरिटी के मर्यादाएं रहती हैं
जी,
तो मैं ज़्यादा उनको एड्रेस नहीं कर पाता हूँ, लेकिन मैं देख लेता हूँ कि हाँ यार, कोई खड़ा है, कोई चाहता है। जैसे कुछ बच्चे आजकल पेंटिंग बना के लाते हैं,
ले आते हैं।
हाँ, लेकिन उनके समाधान के लिए मेरा मन करता है कि मैं उनको ले लूँ। अगर एड्रेस है तो मैं चिट्ठी लिखता हूँ बच्चों को
जी।
हाँ।
तो मोदी जी, ये कैंपेन मैं तो आपको बहुत सालों से फॉलो कर रहा हूँ, ये कैंपेन में कुछ अलग आपको लग रहा है पिछले 2014 या 9? और माहौल की बात जो होते हैं, इंटरव्यू से पहले पूछना चाहूँगा, ओवरऑल माहौल कैसा लग रहा है आपको इस बार?
देखिए, 2014 के चुनाव में जब मैं गया
जी,
तो देश मुझे जानता नहीं था। मैंने थोड़ा बहुत मीडिया से जानता था और मैं गुजरात में काम करता हूँ, उतना ही पता था उनको
जी।
उनको ये मालूम तो था नहीं भाई एक्चुअली क्या है, तो लोगों की क्यूरियोसिटी बहुत थी। तो 2014 में देखता था, मैं जो चीज़ कहता था उसको वो बहुत ही एक प्रकार से नापने की कोशिश करता है, ऐसा मुझे उनकी आंखों से दिखता था।
अच्छा,
कि ये क्या, ये हो सकता है क्या, ये संभव है क्या, क्योंकि उन्होंने ऐसा कभी देखा नहीं था।
जी 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 जी।
तो उनके लिए सब नयापन था। 2019 में गया
जी,
तो मैंने देखा कि एक बड़ा विश्वास का नज़र जाता था। उनको लग रहा है यार आदमी 14 में जो कहता था 5 साल उसने
डिलीवर किया,
बर्बाद नहीं किए
जी।
उसने लगातार जो कहता था उसको करने का प्रयास किया
जी।
लोग मुझे इस बात पे जज नहीं करते थे कि हुआ या नहीं हुआ, पूरा हुआ या आधा हुआ, लेकिन ये जज करते थे कि दिशा सही है कि नहीं, प्रयास ईमानदारी से हो रहा है कि नहीं, और मेहनत करने में कोई कमी है क्या।
जी।
और इन सारी कसौटियों पे देश ने कम से कम मुझे पॉजिटिव पाया। 19 में जब मैं गया तो ये अनुभव था।
जी।
24 में मैं देख रहा हूँ
जी।
कि मेरी सफलता ही मेरे लिए चुनौती बनती जा रही है। सफलता इसलिए चुनौती बनती जा रही है कि उनको लगता है यार ये 14 में कहता था, देखिए 19 में यहाँ तक गया, 19 में कहता था यहाँ तक गया। अब उनको अपेक्षाएं रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी की बहुत कम है। अब सामान्य हिंदुस्तानी मानता है कि हमारा देश पीछे नहीं होना चाहिए, हमारा देश अब आधुनिक होना चाहिए, हमारे देश में वैज्ञानिकता होनी चाहिए। ये सामान्य मानवीय की सोच है जी, और वो एडप्ट करता है। खास करके डिजिटल इंडिया ने
जी
उसको अनुभव करवाया
जी जी जी
कि ये सब संभव है, हम भी ये कर सकते हैं।
जी।
सामान्य मानवीय को, वरना टेक्नोलॉजी घर में घड़ी भी टाइम सेट करना है तो पहले सोचता था कि घड़ी का टाइम सेट, तो बच्चे को बुलाता है, अरे देखो यार वो घड़ी लेट चल रही है, सेल बदलना है। तो आज ऐसा नहीं है एक। और इसलिए मैं समझता हूँ कि ये समय आकांक्षाओं का समय है
जी।
बहुत बड़ी आकांक्षाओं का समय है, और ये आकांक्षाओं का समय है तो मेरा उत्साह भी और बढ़ गया है।
मैं एक व्यक्तिगत सवाल पूछूं इंटरव्यू शुरू करने से पहले। मोदी जी, पूछता है भारत, नेशन वांट्स टू नो, आप इतने रिलैक्स्ड कैसे रहते हैं? अभी आपको कोई मिले इतने चुनाव के गर्मी के बीच में, और आपकी शेड्यूल 2014 से ज़्यादा है, 2019 से ज़्यादा है। 2014 में जब इंटरव्यू की थी आपकी, मैंने 9 मई को ही की थी 2014 को, और तब आपका गला भी बैठ गया था। इस बार गला भी आपने, यू आर लुकिंग वेरी फ्रेश, वेरी रिलैक्स्ड। तो
अगर टीवी पर लोग मुझे न देखते हैं और आज जिस रूप में आप मुझे देख रहे हैं देखते हैं, तो मानते ही नहीं कि मैं मेहनत कर रहा हूँ। और आजकल कुछ लोग बोल भी देते हैं। लेकिन
जी,
शायद 2014 में और 2019 से बजाय
जी,
एक अलग ही माहौल है चुनाव में, और उसका एक स्वाभाविक परिणाम मेरे मन पर भी होता है। मैं भी इंसान हूँ, आखिर कोई तनाव नहीं है, कोई इफ्स एंड बट्स नहीं है, कोई दुविधा नहीं है। और मैं गुजरात में इतने साल रहा, लेकिन मैंने ऐसे चुनाव नहीं देखे। मैं सब चुनाव जीतता था, 2/3 बहुमत से जीतता था, लेकिन इतना, और इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ कि चुनाव मोदी निमित्त है जी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की एक व्यवस्था है, लेकिन मेरे हिसाब से चुनाव देश की जनता ने अपने कंधे पर ले लिया है। और एक प्रकार से मैं जो कहता हूँ, मैं जाके कहता हूँ भाई मैं 2 चीज़ के लिए आया हूँ। एक, 10 साल देश को आगे बढ़ाने में आपने जो योगदान किया, तो मैं आपका धन्यवाद करता हूँ, देश आपने आगे बढ़ाया है। और दूसरा मैं कहता हूँ कि मुझे आशीर्वाद चाहिए, क्योंकि हमें अब इस गति को रुकने नहीं देना है
जी,
हमें
इसको मेंटेन रखना है,
नई ऊंचाइयों को पार करना
जी,
है।
बिल्कुल।
हमें गति भी बढ़ानी है, स्पीड भी बढ़ानी है, स्केल भी बढ़ाना है, और स्कोप का तो जहाँ तक सवाल है, स्काई इज़ द लिमिट, जो डेफिनेशन है, जो बोला जाता है स्काई इज़ द लिमिट, मैं समझता हूँ भारत के लिए उससे भी आगे बहुत कुछ है।
बहुत बढ़िया।
Well, back in December 2018, the Prime Minister was at the Republic Summit. When he had first spoken on surging India, it was the first time that he was attending a Republic Summit. A vision, he said, was not his alone, surging India, but the collective dream of 130 crore Indians back then, 7 years ago.
मेरे पास भी पहले और अब की बहुत दिलचस्प तस्वीर है, जो सर्जिंग इंडिया को और प्रभावी बनाती है। साथियों, आज देश के सामने 2014 से पहले की एक तस्वीर है, जब स्वच्छता का दायरा 40% से भी कम था। अब 2018 के अंत में वही दायरा बढ़कर के 97% पहुंच चुका है। आज देश के सामने 2014 के पहले की तस्वीर है, जब देश के 50% लोगों के पास बैंक खाते नहीं थे। अब 2018 के अंत में देश के हर परिवार बैंकिंग सिस्टम से जुड़ चुका है। आज देश के सामने 2014 के पहले की एक और तस्वीर है, जहां टैक्स देने वालों की संख्या 3 करोड़ 80 लाख थी। अब इस साल ये संख्या बढ़कर लगभग 7 करोड़ हो चुकी है। आज देश के सामने 2014 के पहले की एक तस्वीर है, जहां सिर्फ 65 लाख उद्यमी टैक्स देने के लिए रजिस्टर्ड थे, 65 लाख। अब आज स्थिति ये भी है कि सिर्फ 1.5 साल में 55 लाख नए उद्यमी रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए आगे आए हैं। आज देश के सामने 2014 के पहले की एक तस्वीर है, जहां मोबाइल बनाने वाली सिर्फ 2 कंपनियां थी। आज उन्हीं मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनियों की संख्या बढ़कर 120 के पार हो गई है, 200 120। साथियों, पहले और अब का ये बदलाव सर्जिंग इंडिया की बहुत मजबूत तस्वीर को सामने रखता है। ये सब इसलिए हो रहा है कि आज देश में पॉलिसी ड्रिवन गवर्नेंस और प्रिडिक्टेबल ट्रांसपेरेंट पॉलिसीज को आधार बनाकर हमारी सरकार आगे बढ़ रही है। इसी का नतीजा है कि आज भारत में 2 गुनी रफ्तार से हाईवे बन रहे हैं, 2 गुनी रफ्तार से रेल लाइनों का दोहरीकरण हो रहा है, बिजलीकरण हो रहा है, 100 से ज्यादा नए एयरपोर्ट और हेलीपोर्ट पर काम हो रहा है। 30 से 40 साल से, यानी 30 40 साल से अटकी हुई योजनाओं को पूरा किया जा रहा है।
In March 2019, weeks after the Pulwama attack, the Prime Minister spoke exclusively on Republic Bharat to our editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami. Now, in that pre-poll interview before the 2019 elections, he declared India's response blueprint to what was back then our biggest security test. Something that we have seen carried through most recently, even during Operation Sindoor.
पुलवामा जिस दिन अटैक हुई थी 14 फरवरी को, आप कहाँ थे? आपको पहले खबर कहाँ मिली और आपकी पहली जो रिस्पांस क्या थी?
देखिए, मेरा पूर्व निर्धारित कार्यक्रम रहता है और पहले से रहता है। तो उत्तराखंड में मेरा दौरा था और मैं एनवायरनमेंट को भी बल देने वाला व्यक्ति हूँ और मैं टूरिज्म को भी बल देना चाहता हूँ। तो उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए मेरे कुछ कार्यक्रम थे, पूरे दिन का मेरा दौरा था। जब ये पुलवामा घटना हुई उस समय बारिश बहुत थी, बहुत बारिश थी उधर उत्तराखंड में। और मेरी बहुत बड़ी एक रैली थी, तो रैली में 3 बजे जाना था, पहुंचना मेरे लिए मुश्किल था। मीनवाइल मुझे समाचार मिला, एग्जैक्ट टाइमिंग वगैरह तो देखना होगा। तो फिर मैंने तय किया कि मैं रैली को मोबाइल फ़ोन से संबोधित करूंगा, लेकिन इतनी बड़ी रैली हो ऐसे में ऐसी खबरों की चर्चा नहीं की जाती है। और जिन लोगों को मेरा परिचय होगा उनको मालूम होगा कि बिहार में 2013 में पटना में अक्टूबर में मेरी रैली चल रही थी, और मेरी रैली में जहाँ मेरा भाषण चलता है वहाँ बम ब्लास्ट हो रहे थे। बिल्कुल, अगर मैं उस समय थोड़ा सा भी बैलेंस खो देता और इस चीज़ को अपने तरीके से हैंडल न करता तो वहाँ जो कैओस हो जाता वो बड़ा भयंकर हो जाता। बिल्कुल, तो मैंने उस समय कहा चुप रहो, शांत रहो, इस सारे बहुत ढंग से उसको हैंडल किया। सारे लोगों से ये बाद में समझाया कि भाई शांति से जाना है, डिगना करना है, फलाना करना है। और बाद में लोगों को पता चलने लगा कि ये तो बम ब्लास्ट हुए थे, काफ़ी लोग मारे गए हैं। तो ऐसी स्थिति में बहुत संतुलित रूप से व्यवहार करना होता है। उसको अगर कोई राजनीतिक इशू बनाता है तो ये उनकी नासमझी है और कुछ नहीं है।
24 घंटे के अंदर आपने बहुत टफ रिस्पांस प्रॉमिस किया। आपने कहा मुंह तोड़ जवाब, और आपने कहा खुली छूट देंगे हम फोर्सेस को। क्या आप कह रहे हैं कि आपने 24 घंटे में डिसाइड कर दी थी उस वक्त लोग जानना चाहेंगे कि हम बालाकोट को अटैक करेंगे या जैश-ए-मोहम्मद कैंप को अटैक करेंगे? डिटेल बन चुकी थी 24 घंटे में?
पहली बात है कि डिटेल बनाने का काम प्रधानमंत्री की बस का रोग नहीं है, न प्रधानमंत्री कर सकता हो। कोई प्रधानमंत्री ऐसा क्लेम करता है तो झूठ बोलता है।
ऑपोजिशन तो कहती है हर चीज का आप क्लेम
इसकी एक्सपर्टाइज होती है, इंफॉर्मेशन गैदर करते हैं, अलग अलग कई इंस्टीट्यूशंस काम करती हैं। प्रधानमंत्री की भूमिका क्या थी? प्रधानमंत्री का कहना था कि भाई ऐसे समय में देश की आशा अपेक्षाओं के अनुकूल हमारा व्यवहार होना चाहिए।
In April 2023, the Prime Minister returned to the Republic Summit, and this time he outlined India's time of transformation and underlined his unwavering nation-first approach in this candid speech.
मुझे खुशी है कि अर्नब बढ़िया हिंदी बोलने लगे हैं। उन्होंने क्या बोला वो तो मैंने सुना नहीं, लेकिन हिंदी ठीक है कि नहीं वो बराबर ध्यान से सुन रहा था। और शायद मुंबई में रहने के कारण आप हिंदी बराबर सीख लिए। साथियों, आप सबके बीच आना स्वाभाविक है कि आनंद होता है। अगले महीने रिपब्लिक टीवी के 6 साल पूरे हो रहे हैं। मैं आपको बधाई दूंगा। आपने नेशन फर्स्ट के अपने मिशन को डिगने नहीं दिया। हर प्रकार के रोड़े रुकावटों के बावजूद आप डटे रहे। कभी अर्नब का गला खराब हुआ, कभी कुछ लोग अर्नब के गले पड़ गए, लेकिन चैनल न रुका न थका और न ही थमा। साथियों, 2019 में जब मैं रिपब्लिक समिट में आया था तब उस समय की थीम थी इंडियाज मोमेंट, और इस थीम की पृष्ठभूमि में देश की जनता से मिला जनादेश था। अनेकों दशकों बाद भारत की जनता ने लगातार दूसरी बार प्रचंड बहुमत वाली स्थिर सरकार बनाई थी। देश को ये विश्वास हो गया था कि इंडियाज मूवमेंट आ गया है। आज 4 वर्ष बाद आपकी समिट की थीम है टाइम ऑफ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, यानी जिस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का विश्वास था वो अब जमीन पे दिख रहा है। आप लोग टीवी की
On the 17th of May in 2019, in the thick of the campaign, the election campaign, in what was his first re-election campaign after coming to office, Prime Minister Modi gave his only election rally interview. A candid 30-minute conversation with our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor, where he had reflected for the first time on his first 5 years in office.
चुनाव बहुत ही अच्छा रहा। अगर मैं मध्य प्रदेश का हूँ तो 2014 की तुलना में 8% मतदान ज़्यादा हुआ है, इतनी भयंकर गर्मी में भी। दूसरा, इस चुनाव में एक बात बड़ी विशेष है कि पहले सरकार ऐसी थी कि चुनाव आते ही पता नहीं ऐसी हो जाती थी, राजनीतिक आत्मविश्वास खो देते थे, वो तो अलग है, प्रशासकीय विश्वास भी खो देते थे। अब उसके कारण आपने देखा होगा कि 2009 में और 2014 में चुनाव के समय ही आईपीएल आता है। आईपीएल मैच कराने की ताकत नहीं थी और देश के नौजवान जिसकी छुट्टियां होती हैं, क्रिकेट का एक आनंद लेते हैं, क्रिकेट की दोनों आईपीएल विदेश चली गई। इस बार का चुनाव देखिए, सरकार चल रही है, आईपीएल चल रहा है, नवरात्रि का त्यौहार चल रहा है, रामनवमी चली, हनुमान जयंती चली, ईस्टर का इतना बड़ा त्यौहार हुआ और इतना बड़ा भयंकर ईस्टर्न पार्ट में साइक्लोन आया, उसको भी बहुत ही अच्छा और दुनिया ने सराहा। यानी एक जब मजबूत सरकार होती है, सक्षम सरकार होती है, तब कितने प्रकार से कितने क्षेत्रों में एक साथ काम कर सकती है, ये चुनाव के दरमियान देश ने देखा है। लेकिन चुनाव की आपाधापी में, टीआरपी के चक्कर में मीडिया वाले इस चीज को भूल गए।
In the same year, in November 2019, the Prime Minister headlined the Republic Summit when he had returned to the office. And in that summit, the theme was India's moment. And from the Republic stage, he underlined accountability as the bedrock of change in India and reinforced his nation-first approach.
कि नेशन वॉन्ट्स टू नो, नेशन वॉन्ट्स टू नो, वहां से जो यात्रा शुरू हुई, वहां से नेशन फर्स्ट का ये सफर कैसे तय हुआ है। बीते 5 वर्षों में पूरे देश ने इस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन को देखा है। 5-6 साल तक पहले जनता में और मीडिया में भी सिर्फ सवाल ही सवाल यही चलता रहता था और ऐसा लगता था कि जैसे एक रिकॉर्डेड बुलेटिन चला जा रहा है और बीच बीच में वही बातें रिपीट होती रहती थी। आमतौर पर चर्चा रहती थी हजारों करोड़ के घोटाले, तो दूसरे सप्ताह आता था लाखों करोड़ के घोटाले हैं। कभी भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप, कभी मुंबई, कभी दिल्ली, कभी जयपुर, बम धमाके, कभी नॉर्थ ईस्ट में ब्लॉकेड, कभी आसमान छूती महंगाई। यानी एक बुलेटिन खत्म होता था तो अगली तारीख को वही बुलेटिन फिर आ जाता था और उन्हीं सब खबरों के साथ अब उन हालातों को और परिस्थितियों से देश बहुत आगे बढ़ चुका है।
March 2025, earlier this year, the Prime Minister addressed the First Republic Plenary Summit. And from the stage at Bharat Mandapam, he declared this as the century of India, while proclaiming that the new India was here. Here's that speech.
साथियों, आज पूरी दुनिया कह रही है कि ये भारत की सदी है। क्या आपने नहीं सुना है? भारत की उपलब्धियों ने, भारत की सफलताओं ने पूरे विश्व में एक नई उम्मीद जगाई है। जिस भारत के बारे में कहा जाता था ये खुद भी डूबेगा और हमें भी ले डूबेगा, वो भारत आज दुनिया की ग्रोथ को ड्राइव कर रहा है। मैं भारत के फ्यूचर की दिशा क्या है, ये हमें आज के हमारे काम और सिद्धियों से पता चलता है। आजादी के 65 साल बाद भी भारत दुनिया की 11वें नंबर की इकोनॉमी था।
The Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi.
जब हर एक भारतीय की शक्ति लगेगी, हर एक भारतीय का परिश्रम लगेगा, तो विकसित भारत का सपना भी हम जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर पाएंगे। सपने भारत के, सामर्थ्य भी भारत का।
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Nepal is burning. Gen Z protesters have taken to the streets to bring down the KP-Oli government. The protesters have been hell-bent on regime change, and KP-Oli has already resigned as the Prime Minister of Nepal, with several of his ministers in hiding and on the run. But the Gen Z has chosen its next leader, Sushila Karki.
My general concern, current immediate concern is the law and order of the country. And in order to maintain the law and order of the country demands the person who knows about the law and order. And current Chief Justice Sushila Karki is the right option, I think that. But Gen Zs are also demanding the Balen and the Harka Sampang. But they should, I think, in my point of view, they should prepare for the next general election. For that, they should not focus on maintaining the law and order, but they should prepare for anything big.
Sushila Karki is Nepal's first female Chief Justice, serving in the role from July 2016 to June 2017. Karki began her legal practice in 1979 and became a permanent Supreme Court judge in 2010. In April 2017, an impeachment motion was submitted against her in Parliament by the Maoist Centre and Nepali Congress. The motion was later withdrawn following public pressure and an interim Supreme Court order barring Parliament from proceeding. The irony is that KP-Oli is the one who endorsed her for Chief Justice. During her one-year tenure as Chief Justice, Karki delivered decisive verdicts against some of the country's ministers and powerful bureaucrats. Karki's most notable decision was sentencing the then Information and Communication Minister, Jaiprakash Gupta, to jail while he was still in office, a first in Nepal's history. She also removed the head of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, Lokman Singh Karki, forcing him into exile in Canada. Now the youth of Nepal want her to head the interim government.
Running country is not a easy thing, so we must need various experience to run a country. So for the right now, we have only one good option, that is Sushila Karki, because she at least know how to run a country, to manage everything until the next election happen. So we at least have to wait. Other leaders have to wait until the next election, because there will be various chances to come up in front of Nepal to lead. But for right now, Sushila Karki is the best, because she know everything to manage countries, and she can, I think she can.
Republic's investigation shows accused of BMW hit and run case has direct links with the hospital.
क्या लिंक है? तो अब ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन क्या ये एक तरीका है क्या टू गो सॉफ्ट ऑन द अक्यूज? इज दिल्ली पुलिस नॉट गोइंग टू आंसर? मिस्टर सिंह, इज दिल्ली पुलिस चूजिंग नॉट टू आंसर? व्हाई डिड दिल्ली पुलिस नॉट टेक द कस्टडी yesterday? इन्वेस्टिगेशन कहाँ आगे बढ़ रहा है, आप ये बता पाएंगे? क्योंकि अभी तक पुलिस के साइड से ये नहीं स्टैब्लिश हो पाएगी क्या लिंक है। तो अब ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन क्या ये एक तरीका है क्या टू गो सॉफ्ट ऑन द अक्यूज? इज दिल्ली पुलिस नॉट गोइंग टू आंसर? मिस्टर सिंह, इज दिल्ली पुलिस चूजिंग नॉट टू आंसर?
Delhi police confronted thrice by Republic, but they dodged the question every time.
भावलपुर के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर की फैमिली के लोग, बहनें और बेटे और बच्चे रेजा रेजा हो गए।
Jaish admits of Sindoor impact, says Masood Azhar's family torn to pieces by India. At Combined Commanders Conference, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh asks forces to go beyond traditional concepts of war and be ready to deal with unconventional threats. Brendan Lynch, Assistant US Trade Representative, arrives in New Delhi for crucial India-US trade talks. Amid tussle within the AIADMK, General Secretary Edappadi K. Palaniswamy to meet Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi. Israeli Defense Forces launch a ground invasion of Gaza City. Heavy strikes overnight, tallest building razed to the ground. All right, friends, a big message coming in for the Defense Forces by Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh during his address of the Commanders Conference, or the Combined Commanders Conference that's taking place in Kolkata. Rajnath Singh said that please go beyond traditional concepts of war and think and be ready to deal with unconventional threats. A clear message there from the Defense Minister to the Armed Forces to draw all lessons from Operation Sindoor and to think in terms of technology, think in terms of integration, think in terms of jointness, and go beyond the traditional concepts of war which were centered about capturing land. Defense Minister there speaking at the Combined Commanders Conference, which this time is taking place in Kolkata, at the headquarters of the Eastern Command. Ishan joins us live for more on this, and we go to him. Ishan, defense minister there making clear about India's war doctrine, while speaking to the Combined Commanders Conference. Are you getting more glimpse of what all the defense minister told the top commanders of our armed forces?
Honorable Defense Minister, while addressing the Combined Commanders Conference in Kolkata at Fort Williams, told them to focus on JAI, that is jointness, asymmetry and innovation. This was the core message by the Honorable Defense Minister. He further stated that we should not only focus on land, air and sea, but also on more domains such as ecological, sociological, ideological domains of warfare, and most importantly, information warfare that is being played out by the enemies of India. And he made it clear that this jointness of the three forces coming together to fight wars, because future wars are unpredictable. In his words, it could be a month-long war, it could be a year-long war, it could be a 5-year-long war. So keeping this in mind, we should be prepared for anything and everything that is coming to face us. And he has focused on the jointness of the three forces, and he has stated that the three forces should come together and, as we saw in Operation Sindoor, fight off our enemies and successfully ward off all threats to India.
Okay, thank you so much, Ishan. With that lowdown, essentially the defense minister asking the defense forces to move with jointness in terms of their multi-domain warfare doctrine going forward. Moving on for now, and to a big development connected with Operation Sindoor. In fact, terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed has, for the first time, admitted that family members of its chief, Masood Azhar, were killed during India's strikes in Bahawalpur as part of its Operation Sindoor. In a video, a top Jaish commander, Masood Ilyas Kashmiri, is seen acknowledging the losses suffered by the terror outfit. It was in the strike on Bahawalpur, the 12th largest city in Pakistan, located 400 kilometers from Lahore. 10 of Azhar's relatives were among those killed. It included his sister, her husband, his nephew, his niece, and children from his extended family. 4 of Azhar's aides were also killed in the pre-dawn attack. Now, this is essentially an evidence of the precision strike, but let's listen to Ilyas first.
ये कलहा, ये टेररिज्म, ये दहशतगर्दी की बकवास सीने के साथ लगाए इस मुल्क की नजरियाती जुग्राफियाई सरहदों के लिए कभी हम दिल्ली से टकराए, कभी हम काबुल में टकराए, कभी हम कंधार से टकराए। सब कुछ कुर्बान करने के बाद 7 मई को भावलपुर के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर की फैमिली के लोग, बहनें और बेटे और बच्चे रेजा रेजा हो गए, टुकड़ों में तकसीम हो गए। ये कलहा था, ये टेररिज्म, ये दहशतगर्दी की बकवास सीने के साथ लगाए इस मुल्क की नजरियाती जुग्राफियाई सरहदों के लिए कभी हम दिल्ली से टकराए, कभी हम काबुल में टकराए, कभी हम कंधार से टकराए। सब कुछ कुर्बान करने के बाद 7 मई को भावलपुर के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर की फैमिली के लोग, बहनें और बेटे और बच्चे रेजा रेजा हो गए, टुकड़ों में तकसीम हो गए।
All right, while Ilyas Kashmiri is admitting that Masood Azhar and his family suffered losses in India's Op Sindoor strikes, Gursimran, it is clear that he has no regrets. He's not speaking from any, sense of regrets that this has happened. He's saying that we have done so much. I think he's really venting out at the Pakistani deep state for not having helped them during Operation Sindoor, despite whatever we saw.
See, they were actually cannon fodder for the Pakistani state. That was very sure, because when it came to the Pakistani state, they tried to divert it to the terror groups, and that's what we have seen. Because if we speak of Lashkar-e-Toiba, Hizbul Mujahideen, or if we speak of Jaish-e-Mohammed, not even a single outfit was left by India in its 9 precision strikes that it has carried out on May 7th morning. So it is very clear that these now what these terror groups feel, that they have been completely left alone by the Pakistani administration, Pakistani army that was there. But one more thing, that these are the admissions that are coming, because from the very first day when the strikes happened, Indian side made it amply clear that they have hit the intent target that were on the radar of the Indian forces. And now those who were actually were taken a hit at by the Indian side, they are also coming. And Ilyas Kashmiri, Masood Ilyas Kashmiri, one of those terrorists that was sent to Kashmir by Jaish-e-Mohammed since its inception in 2000 by Maulana Masood Azhar, and then to Kabul also, because when the US was there, we saw that Jaish cadre was operating there as well. So they were sent to Kabul as well. So one of those high rank leaders of Jaish-e-Mohammed coming into camera and accepting that they have suffered a large scale damage, that makes it very clear that India's strikes were successful, and successful to an extent that even when these terror groups are planning to actually reconstruct what they have lost, they are not actually forgetting what has happened to them, and they are time and again being reminded of that. This also sends the security agencies in India also sees this as the provocation that the Pakistani terror groups might carry out some terror strikes to avenge what has happened to them, and that's why they are on alert as well.
Right, Gursimran, but we still need to understand what's really happening on the ground. We have General Kocher joining us, in fact, over the live broadcast, in fact. Very good evening to you, General Kocher, and my question to you is, you would have heard Ilyas Kashmiri, he's a Jaish commander, and he's admitting that Maulana Masood Azhar lost some members of his family. But I was surprised that he's still speaking with some bravado. He's still speaking and showing no regrets that they are part of a terror machine. So, I mean, he's owning up his terrorism. He's saying, we did it in Kabul, we did it in Kashmir, and yet this happened. So, while there is a realization that this time India paid back, but he's not pulling back from terror. You think that he has said this to send a message to the Pakistani deep state to help them more?
Thank you, Abhishek, for this discussion. See, two, three things are very, very clear after this statement by him. First is that the terror structure or the strategy of Pakistan or the strategy of Jaish-e-Mohammed or other terrorist groups has not been dented. Their resolve to still strike on Indian territory remains, and that is why this kind of a threat speech we are hearing. The second second aspect is that though apparently it may seem that Pakistan is trying to distance itself from these terrorist groups, the actual fact is different. We still have intelligence reports coming from Pakistan which suggest that ISI is very actively involved in the reconstruction of these terror infrastructures which have been destroyed. To that extent that even any kind of aid which Pakistan is getting, especially recently there were floods in Pakistan and we heard that a lot of money was given by the US. This money is being diverted for building up the destroyed terror infrastructure in Muridke as well as Bhavalpur. And therefore, these kind of speeches are trying to justify to the world community that the Indians have targeted innocent civilians and there were no terrorists targeted in these camps, which actually is an open admission. Actually, they are causing themselves more harm than good, because this is an open admission being made in a public fora that there was a terrorist camp existing there. The very fact that the family members were staying there and also, I would like to bring your attention, when the funeral took place, there were a number of Pakistani army officers, especially senior officers, attending the funeral. So it was very, very apparent that apart from the family members, there were people of Jaish-e-Mohammed also, senior leaders who were killed in this attack. So this very fact that those satellite imageries which were shown by us, especially by our ADGPI, very, very clearly in the press conference, these kind of satellite imageries were shown to the entire world to suggest Pakistan's harboring of these terror camps and trying to take away the claim of Pakistan that civilian infrastructure were targeted. So now two things are emerging. The first thing which is emerging is that there is an admission from the Pakistani side, from the terrorists themselves, that their camps have been targeted. Second is they are now desperate. They are trying to pressurize the Pakistani establishment for conducting, terror strikes in India.
All right, thank you so much with that perspective on this. Even I'm a little concerned that while there have been damages, it seems that the Pakistan terror machine, backed by its deep state, is still trying to, come back on its feet, and that's really not a good sign. I think our security forces would be watching closely. Moving on, the border security force, in fact, has been successful in foiling Pakistan's attempt to smuggle arms into India. In a recent operation in Fazilka of Punjab, the BSF recovered a massive cache of weapons. Here are the details.
Success for the Border Security Force, BSF has foiled a major attempt of smuggling of the ammunition and arms into the Indian territory from across the border. This was late last night when the consignment was dropped from the other side, though it is unclear whether it was a dead drop or drone drop. It was done in the Arnia sector's Budhwar post, where the troops of the Border Security Force, the alert troops, they saw the consignment, after which they launched a massive search operations in the area. And during the searches, they have recovered one Russian-made AK series rifle. Suspected, it is said that it is an AK-47 rifle, along with the magazine and some ammunition that has been recovered. It is believed that it was being sent for some major terror strike that needs to be carried out, because if I can show you on this very side, you will see that this is the fence. So this area is very close to the Indo-Pakistan international border, almost on the verge of it. This is the Indian fence that is there. So it was ahead of the fence that the dropping was done, but due to the alertness of the troops of Border Security Force in collaboration with the intel agencies, they have foiled this attempt of smuggling of weapons into the Indian territory.
All right, that was a ground report. Moving on, back to New Delhi. The US Defense Delegation is currently here in the national capital, and they are here to finalize the trade deal, at least take the talks forward. Remember that the talks had got derailed. In fact, this delegation led by Brendan Lynch was supposed to come in the month of August, in the last week of August, and then it got derailed because of some very difficult posturing coming in from the White House, and then amplified by the likes of Peter Navarro and Howard Lutnick. But over the last 10 days, we have seen President Trump softening his position vis-a-vis India and refocusing on China instead. And subsequently, we have seen the United States really recalibrating its position, and as part of which this trade delegation has come. Deals worth about $4 billion are to be discussed. In fact, there is a defense component of this delegation, and they are going to be discussing purchase, for example, by India of P-8I Orion surveillance aircrafts, among others. And then, of course, the larger trade deal, for which a new deadline of November now has been set by both the sides. It seems momentum coming back in the India-US trade talks after the recalibration that's been guided from the White House. All right, moving on. Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah dialed Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami to take stock of the situation as the state reels through heavy rains.
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Prime Minister Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah have dialed Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami to take stock of the situation as the state reels through heavy rains. In the meantime, Dhami inspected the disaster-affected areas in Kesarwala, Maldevta area. River Sahastradhara flooded due to heavy rains in Dehradun since last night. The videos showed debris and floodwater enter the main market, causing heavy damage to hotels and shops. Videos coming from Dehradun show Tamsa River in spate and Tapkeshwar Mahadev temple inundated as heavy rainfall lashes the Uttarakhand capital. The entire temple premises were submerged. Losses have been incurred at various places. The sanctum sanctorum of the temple is safe, however, and no human loss of life has been reported. In more videos of damage emerging from Uttarakhand, the bridge near Fun Valley and Uttarakhand Dental College on the Dehradun-Haridwar National Highway has been damaged after the heavy rainfall last night. Right, from home to some foreign affairs news. After weeks of threatening an expansion of the Israeli military operations in Gaza City, the IDF have announced that they have indeed expanded the operations to destroy Hamas's military infrastructure. The officials have warned that all residents should leave Gaza City. The announcement was made by Israeli military spokesperson Avichai Adri, followed by Defense Minister Israel Katz, and is a statement that Gaza is burning.
After a night of heavy airstrikes, the Israeli military announced that its expanded operation in Gaza City to destroy Hamas's military infrastructure has begun and warned residents to move south. A plume of smoke was visible in the distance as scores of Palestinians fled from the north towards the south of the Gaza Strip. Large numbers of people were seen carrying their belongings in the Wadi Gaza area and moving along a seaside road that connects the southern Gaza. As a part of the expansion operation, Al Ghafri Tower, the tallest building in the Gaza Strip, was leveled to the ground. The attack comes shortly after the Israeli army issued the evacuation order, as the Israeli military says the building hit Hamas infrastructure. The United Nations estimated that over 220,000 Palestinians have fled northern Gaza over the past month. An estimated 1 million Palestinians were living in the region around Gaza City. Earlier today, a United Nations Commission of Inquiry accused Israel of committing a genocide in Gaza and compared the Gaza situation with the Rwanda genocide of 1994. In fact, the expansion order was issued while US Secretary of State Marco Rubio was in Israel, and today he arrived in the energy-rich nation of Qatar. US Secretary of State is set to meet the ruling Emir of Qatar, while the nation is still incensed over Israel's strike last week that killed 5 Hamas members and a local security official.
All right, short break. On the other side, Republic's investigation shows that accused of a BMW hit-and-run case has direct links with the hospital. Amit tussle with an AIADMK General Secretary EPS to meet Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi later today.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Not counting gang violence. Great.
You get the worst ideas when you have secularism. Men give birth. No borders. America's a terrible country. These things are almost all outgrowths of secularism. But this generation, you guys want something deeper. You want something more.
U.S. most fiery right-wing speaker and U.S. President Donald Trump's close ally, Charlie Kirk, was shot dead. He was shot straight in the neck while giving speech at a uni in Utah.
Just fired a fire alarm. Shots fired at UVU Charlie Kirk Turning Point.
The 31-year-old was U.S.'s most fiery right-wing speaker.
Speaking to you in my personal capacity tonight as a 26-year-old, I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents. I am here tonight to tell you, to warn you, that this election is a decision between preserving America as we know it and eliminating everything that we love. To hold down the good, decent middle-class patriots striving to build a family and pursue a decent life.
So who was Charlie Kirk?
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
One question that came to my mind was, how did so many people gather at one place at a particular time? So obviously, from what I've understood from what you've said, there were people asking for students to gather in different places, correct?
No. It was like the place was fixed. The time was fixed. But the person behind it or the mastermind behind it, I'm also unknown who did it. But there are few conspiracy theories. I don't want to go on them. But yeah, there are few conspiracy theories like who might have done this.
Let me ask you a question. I'm asking you as a youth. I'm part of. I consider myself a part of the youth in India, and I'm asking you.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you feel that the frustration, the anger of the youth, the passion of the youth, and everything that you passionately felt for has been somewhere been taken advantage of, given only the kind of rioting, arson that we have seen in Nepal, like to burn down your parliament? I understand there is anger, right? But to burn down parliament, burn down homes, burn down hotels, like many properties which are not even linked. Do you feel that maybe
For
somewhere
sure.
that's been taken advantage of?
So you used that one word called infiltration, right?
Yeah.
So exactly that happened. Because Gen Zs were never supposed to do that. It was ignited by people who were not supposed to be there. And okay, parliament burning, it's like a very big deal.
Republic's investigation shows accused of BMW hit and kill case has her direct links with the hospital.
इन्वेस्टिगेशन कहाँ आगे बढ़ा आप ये बता पाएंगे, क्योंकि अभी तक पुलिस के साइड से ये नहीं स्टैब्लिश हो पाएगी क्या लिंक है। तो अभी इन्वेस्टिगेशन का ये एक तरीका है क्या टू गो सॉफ्ट ऑन द अक्यूज? इज दिल्ली पुलिस नॉट गोइंग टू आंसर? मिस्टर सिंह, इज दिल्ली पुलिस चूजिंग नॉट टू आंसर? Why did Delhi police not take the custody yesterday? इन्वेस्टिगेशन कहाँ आगे बढ़ा आप ये बता पाएंगे, क्योंकि अभी तक पुलिस के साइड से ये नहीं स्टैब्लिश हो पाएगी क्या लिंक है। तो अब ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन का ये एक तरीका है क्या टू गो सॉफ्ट ऑन द अक्यूज इस दिल्ली
Delhi police confronted thrice by Republic, but they dodged the question every time.
मई को भावलपुर के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर की फैमिली के लोग बहनें और बेटे और बच्चे रेजा रेजा हो गए.
Jaish admits Op Sindoor impact, says Masood Azhar's family torn into pieces by India. At Combined Commanders Conference, Defence Minister asks forces to go beyond traditional concepts of war and be ready to deal with unconventional threats. Brendan Lynch, Assistant US Trade Representative, arrives in New Delhi for crucial India-US trade talks. Amid tussle within AIADMK General Secretary EPS to move Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi later today. Israeli Defense Forces launch a ground invasion of Gaza City. Heavy strikes overnight, tallest building destroyed. All right, let's begin with the big breaking news development coming in. Pakistan has admitted that India, in fact, rejected any third-party mediation, that the ceasefire happened bilaterally between India and Pakistan. This big admission is coming from Pakistan's Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar in an interview to the West Asian Qatari channel Al Jazeera. And this is like a big admission because remember, we had 29 times Donald Trump say, oh, he got the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, and now you have Pakistan's foreign minister say India actually refused any third-party mediation and that the ceasefire ultimately happened bilaterally. We cannot play the soundbite, it's Al Jazeera interview, but this is quotes coming out of that interview that Ishaq Dar has given to the Qatari channel, where he has clearly admitted to the fact that the ceasefire ultimately happened bilaterally between India and Pakistan. Also then, of course, calling the bluff of US President Donald Trump because he was insisting, persisting, and at least 29 times he mentioned that he got the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. That's a big one. Let's go to Gursimran to understand this. Gursimran, this is a big development. We'll get more voices on this because we are going to stay on this story for a while. And Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar now really spilling the beans so far as the actual ceasefire deal is concerned, which happened clearly between India and Pakistan, and there was no third-party role. Really strengthens India's position, really strengthens the Modi government's very clearly stated position that there was no third-party mediation whatsoever, and the DGMO talks ultimately led to ceasefire after Pakistan cried uncle.
Yes, that's absolutely what has happened. And now, after Ishaq Dar coming on record stating that it was only the single party, that is India and Pakistan, it was no third party mediation that was accepted by India. And he said that on 25th of July, when he met the US Foreign Secretary Rubio in the United States, it was he asked what about the talks, because it was the Pakistan that was very keen for a third party intervention, that was very keen that US should enter, because it was the Pakistan that actually went on to propose the name of US President for the Nobel Prize, because they were very happy with the US mediation in the Kashmir issue. But India outrightly rejected it. And I have also with me the statement that was put out by the White House after the meeting between the Defense Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister also Ishaq Dar, and also between the Secretary Rubio, in which that has been released by the US spokesperson Tommy Bruce. It clearly marks no mention that there was any discussion on India, because US also knew that the discussion on the lines it is not going to suit what the Donald Trump has been repeating time and again, more than 29 times to be precise, that he has said that he was a deal breaker between India and Pakistan. But now the Ishaq Dar's admission that has come, it is very clear that it was India who, on the request of the Pakistani DGMOs, said that okay, then now we are agreeing for the ceasefire, because India knew that it has turned Pakistan a lot. It was not the intervention from the US side that has been made clear by the India time and again, but now also Pakistan has admitted same, that when Pakistan asked US that what has happened to the talks, it was replied by the US side, the US Secretary Rubio, that it is the India that is saying that they are not interested in any third party talks because it is a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, making it amply clear that all the claims that were being made by Donald Trump, they were all far from the reality, and there was not even an iota of truth to it, and that is what now the Pakistani Minister Ishaq Dar is admitting.
Yes, in fact, it's a big one, and domestically speaking also, Gursimran, this is a big slap on the face of those who were questioning the Modi government just because Donald Trump was insisting that he got the ceasefire, because if the Pakistanis are saying so, that India did not agree for mediation. If Marco Rubio is telling Ishaq Dar that the Indians are saying that this is a bilateral issue and that you have to sort it out with them, and then he's saying that the ceasefire ultimately happened because the two sides directly spoke. This is clearly not just calling the bluff of Donald Trump. This is about vindication of India's position, India's stand, and the fact that Prime Minister Modi and his government did not budge, did not blink, and ultimately Pakistan had to surrender.
Yes, that's what has happened, and this is a big setback to those political parties also who were actually buying the narrative that was being peddled by Donald Trump that was far from the reality, because many of the political parties, they went on repeatedly asking government that why did they budge to the Donald Trump, why did they actually came under the pressure of the United States to call a ceasefire with the Pakistan. But now the admission that is coming from Ishaq Dar itself, it is far more clear that now that Indian armed forces, they were actually one who took call on the DGMO Pakistan's request. It was actually a plea that was made by the Pakistani DGMO when they rang their Indian counterpart at around 12 in the afternoon. The call was scheduled, and later in the afternoon the call took place, and at 5 the ceasefire came into being, though it was some violation for the first couple of hours, and then it was around 10 in the evening when there was a complete lull on the borders that we saw. But it was not under any pressure that was mounted by the United States President. Those who have like he has been claiming time and again that he was the one, but the reality remains that it was India and Pakistan only, and that is now evident from the statement that is coming from Ishaq Dar. Ishaq Dar was told by the Secretary Rubio that India has denied any bilateral talks, any third party interference on the Kashmir issue or any issues between India and Pakistan, and they said that this is a bilateral issue because Pakistan's what Pakistan's will was, what Pakistan wanted to, that has also been made clear by Ishaq Dar, that we were ready for any third party intervention. So it was the India that actually put their feet strongly that we don't want any third party mediation on the ongoing issue, that is the situation that was evolving, and this all has happened 50 days after Operation Sindoor. So it was not that has happened something prior to that, but it was 50 days after that this meeting took place in the United States, and then now the admission coming.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, General Rajan Kochar is joining us in a bit. But this is, I think this is a double whammy. One for the Trump administration, because it was insisting that they got the ceasefire done, and they might have, of course, facilitated it. And then we have our Peter Pans back home who were saying that, oh, Trump is saying so, that's the reason why this would have happened. But ultimately, someone like Ishaq Dar, who's foreign minister of Pakistan, who was in the thick of things, who's also deputy prime minister, who's connected with the Sharifs, and for him to do this mea culpa to a Qatari channel in an interview and say that the Indians did not agree for third-party mediation and that the Americans told us that please talk to them directly, while there would have been facilitation of talks, not just by the Americans, but even by the Saudis, for example, even by the Emiratis, for example. Ultimately, the ceasefire call was taken by the respective DGMOs. And in fact, India made Pakistan wait for a while, few hours, before our DGMO took the call and decided, okay, fine, let's give the Pakistanis a chance and let's call the ceasefire. And that's of course, after a dozen odd Pakistani military targets were immobilized and those air bases were targeted. In fact, we have Major Samar Paltur joining us live on this broadcast. And very good afternoon, Major Tur. But this is a big development. You see, did you hear about Pakistani Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar telling the world effectively that the ceasefire between India and Pakistan happened between India and Pakistan and there was no third-party mediation? It's a big one.
I mean, Abhishek, this is like a pure betrayal. Like this is what they are doing now. The big question mark on President Trump's claim. And in fact, Pakistan itself, the statement that has come implies that President Trump has lied regarding India calling in for the ceasefire. So as I said, now it is Ilyas Kashmiri. Before that, it was the Public of Pakistan, which provided the evidence of the missiles and the drones going on to the terrorist targets. And today, Jaish-e-Mohammed Ilyas Kashmiri gave a speech that they have been involved in attacks in Afghanistan. They've been involved in attacks in Delhi. They've been involved in attacks within Pakistan as well to a large extent. And I wonder what Pakistan government is doing. They have no face left. And I request United Nations security watchdog to have a look and scrutinize these statements, ministers, and put sanctions on Pakistan, because this is outrightly outrageous and this is wrong. I mean, they have admitted now that after Osama bin Laden, now this. So I don't think what is the world waiting for, what evidence the world is wanting to see, other than their top ministers, including the defense minister during Op Sindoor, admitting to terrorism. So I want to call the bluff of the West. It is time that they act straight and they put sanctions on Pakistan. They put restrictions on Pakistan. They isolate Pakistan, because I think beyond this, I do not think there is much more credible evidence than they themselves admitting to helping the terrorists, safeguarding the terrorists, and getting these terrorist attacks done on their neighbors, which includes Afghanistan and India both. Abhishek.
Yeah, Major Tur, but I want to understand that if a Pakistani foreign minister can speak with this clarity, and we know the propensity of Donald Trump to really, just for headline's sake, and of course his personal motivation of trying to, get the Nobel Peace Prize, to persist with the manner in which he sort of wanted to live in his bubble of having done something for the ceasefire. And of course, as I was mentioning earlier, the Americans would have definitely had some role in terms of facilitating a dialogue. But for some in India, Major Tur, to really buy hook, line, sinker, the Trump narrative that, Narendra Modi government surrendered because Trump asked them to surrender and got the ceasefire done. I think today they should be looking in the mirror.
I mean, see, Abhishek, now these have two angles. Firstly, there is a probability that the Pakistan political diaspora is not towing the lines of the Pakistan establishment. Number one. Number two, the strategy can be that of them admitting to this, Asif Munir can come in and, convince the United Nations and USA to some extent that if he comes into power, he will have things under control, exactly like how Musharraf played his part. So first, they help the terrorists, then they call out the terrorists, and then out of one of them, somebody from the military establishment comes into the political power and tries to pretend that they are fighting against terrorism. They get in all the aid, and by that time, it's too late. So it's a repetitive narrative of what Musharraf has done. And I only see that isolating Pakistan, sanctioning them, and being actually very rigid in handling Pakistan is the way out. And what scares us the most is it's a nuclear armed state. A nuclear armed state with such, admissions of harboring terrorists. I mean, what guarantee is there that, to safeguard the nuclear assets of Pakistan? And there is another angle of the American military forces being present in few of the air bases, for example, in Jacobabad. So,
Yeah,
Abhishek,
it's not just about Jacobabad. I mean, it was complete decimation of Pakistan, Major Tour, and we were there in the studios together all those days, 4 days when the war panned out. But I think this is the absolute conclusive, ultimate evidence of the fact that the ceasefire happened only when Pakistan realized that they are on the brink of complete destruction and disaster, and that if they have to avoid it, they better sue for peace. They did it via Americans. That's possible. But then ultimately it happened when the Americans also told them, please speak to India directly. Why through us?
I mean, see, what President Trump gave a statement was that it was Prime Minister Modi who called, which has been now turned down by this Finance Minister of Pakistan itself. So, these are the contradictory statements in which it is already going to hamper the image and the credibility of the United States in the eyes of the Indian government. So what face do they have to save? Secondly, this admission definitely tells that the Pakistan political diaspora is not on the same page. And with the, aggravated attacks which are going on, 3 days back, Asif Munir, their air chief, has had a meeting with the corps commanders to go on an all-out offensive by air as well as with the use of drones in Balochistan and in Afghanistan. And they're going to use the new Chinese-acquired attack helicopters this time. So I am sure that, these are very crucial times for everyone, Afghanistan and India, to have a very close watch on Pakistan. And the second perspective that we see is the Arab alliance, similar on the lines of NATO. So Pakistan is the same country which has been pushing the rhetoric and been threatening Israel, and Egypt and other Arab countries have been now, in increasing the threat against Israel by lobbying that Pakistan will use its nuclear weapons against Israel. So, I mean, it is becoming very precarious, and clearly evident of a Muslim country.
Major Tour, stay with us. In fact, let's try to have a diplomatic view also on this from the side of diplomats. We have Ambassador Goel joining us live on the broadcast. Very good afternoon to you, Ambassador Goel. And my question to you is, what does this mean for India's diplomacy? Pakistan admitting that there was no third-party mediation, that the ceasefire happened bilaterally. Even Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State of the United States, told them to speak directly to India.
Well, there is that diplomacy here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Please go ahead.
No, I'm saying there is no question of diplomacy here, really. We have been maintaining all that time that there was no third-party mediation. It was Trump who kept on insisting that he mediated. And for Pakistan even recommended his name for the Nobel Prize. And clearly Trump thought that Pakistan was actually supporting his claims for mediation. Now today, this confession by Minister Dar to say that there was no third-party mediation, I really wonder whether USA is going to punish Pakistan for making this kind of a confession. That's the only thing I can think of. It's laughable, it's ludicrous, but it is really the justice being done to Pakistan then.
Okay. Sir, and last question before I let you go. This is a strong message to those within India who were sort of trying to compromise India's strong position that the Modi government had taken, that this has happened because Pakistan came crying uncle, not because Americans, brought us together. So obviously, this is a shot in the arm for the Modi government on the domestic front also.
As a diplomat, I would say one thing here. I don't think that any party, anyone, had questioned the issue of third-party mediation. I don't remember any statement being made by any party. There were, of course, statements in terms of how it could have been handled. And there could be many other opinions in terms of handling this thing. I myself believe that we didn't have to be so direct. There were so many people who could have called our people, really, our Prime Minister, including Trump. And we didn't have to simply say that you are no one. After all, there are ways to handle the things diplomatically. That's all I would say. Otherwise, there was no question ever of mediation in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much with that perspective on this. And in fact, we'll come back to this story in a bit with more details on what prompted Ishaq to make that comment. He effectively compromises Trump's 29 claims on having facilitated the India-Pakistan ceasefire. He might have, but did not really get the ceasefire done by itself. Moving on for now, and let's look at what's happening in Uttarakhand with all the cloudburst and the consequent triggering of landslides and floods in this report.
उत्तराखंड में पहाड़ से लेकर मैदान तक हर तरफ हाहाकार मचा हुआ है। हर तरफ नदियां अपने उफान पर है, चाहे सोंग नदी हो चाहे मालन नदी हो। ये तस्वीर मैं देहरादून के माल देवता क्षेत्र की आपको दिखा रहा हूँ। सड़क पूरी तरह से वॉश आउट हो चुकी है। ये टीवी स्क्रीन पर ये तमाम तस्वीरें देखिए। यहाँ के आसपास के गांव का जनजीवन अस्त व्यस्त हो चुका है। ऐसी तस्वीरें उत्तराखंड के हर तरफ से देखने को मिल रही है। तबाही का यह भयंकर मंजर राजधानी देहरादून के माल देवता क्षेत्र का मंजर है। यहाँ नदियां, मालन नदी हो, सोंग नदी हो, सब अपने उफान पर बहती हुई नजर आ रही है। ये तमाम तस्वीर देखिए। इसके आसपास के जो गांव हैं उनकी कनेक्टिविटी टूट चुकी है। मेरे सहयोगी आपको दिखा रहे हैं, पूरी सड़क यहां से वॉश आउट हो चुकी है। कल देर रात से धड़क में भी बादल फटा, जहां पर कई दुकानें वहां पर जमींदोज हो चुकी हैं। 2 लोग मिस हो चुके हैं। लेकिन ये आप तस्वीर देखिए, नदी अपने उफान पर है, सड़क वॉश आउट हो चुकी है। मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी कल देर रात से ही लगातार राहत कार्य बचाव में जुटे हुए हैं। आपदा प्रबंधन तंत्र के तमाम अधिकारियों को उचित दिशा निर्देश उन्होंने दिए हैं।
All right, short break on the other side. Jaish admits Op Sindoor impact, says Masood Azhar's family torn into pieces by India. And Republic's investigation shows accused of BMW hit and kill case has direct links with the hospital.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Not counting gang violence. Great.
You get the worst ideas when you have secularism. Men give birth. No borders. America's a terrible country. These things are almost all outgrowths of secularism. But this generation, you guys want something deeper. You want something more.
U.S. most fiery right-wing speaker and U.S. President Donald Trump's close ally, Charlie Kirk, was shot dead. He was shot straight in the neck while giving speech at a uni in Utah.
Just fired a firearm. Shots fired at UVU Charlie Kirk turning point.
The 31-year-old was U.S.'s most fiery right-wing speaker.
Speaking to you in my personal capacity tonight as a 26-year-old, I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents. I am here tonight to tell you, to warn you, that this election is a decision between preserving America as we know it and eliminating everything that we love. To hold down the good, decent middle-class patriots striving to build a family and pursue a decent life.
So who was Charlie Kirk?
If you want to have a privileged life in America, very simple, start acting a certain way. Do not...
What do you mean act a certain way?
Get married to one person and stay married to that person and don't abandon them, of which 75% of black men do.
So, okay, we have 2 black men right here. By that statistics, one of us is not going to get married to one woman. So,
okay, I hope you guys defy the odds.
Okay, so
were you raised by a two-parent household?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good. And that's why you are probably here, because that elevates my argument. Our belief system is that you come down to the most foundational family unit. And when that breaks down so severely, don't be shocked if that group, when it acts that way, stays in poverty over a longer period of time.
I said capitalism is a deadly vampire that feasts on the blood of the working class.
Capitalism is a deadly vampire that feasts on the blood of the working class.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that for me?
I don't really want to right now, but like, because like.
Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
So you're feasting on the blood of the working class. How dare.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी.
We would also like to respond to the surprising, shallow and ill-informed remarks made by Switzerland, a close friend and partner. All the more important for Switzerland to avoid wasting the Council's time with narratives that are blatantly false and do not do justice to the reality of India.
Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media. Here we call on the government to take effective measures to protect minorities and uphold the rights to the freedom of expression and the freedom of the media.
That have made remarks regarding India. We are compelled, once again, to address provocations from a country whose own leadership recently likened it to a dump truck. Perhaps an inadvertently apt metaphor for a state that continues to deposit recycled falsehoods and stale propaganda before this distinguished council. Pakistan's systematic abuse of this forum, coupled with its routine manipulation of the OIC as its mouthpiece, has become a familiar pattern. Its pathological fixation on India appears to provide it with existential validation. Yet, we must respond, lest we forget. Lest we forget the carnage of Pahalgam, where Pakistan-sponsored terrorists turned a meadow of joy into a killing field in April this year. Lest we forget 9/11, as the world marks its anniversary tomorrow, even as we witness today the hypocrisy of those who sheltered its mastermind and glorified him as a martyr. Lest we forget Pulwama, Uri, Pathankot, Mumbai. The list is endless, Mr. President. Yet, Pakistan demonstrates the audacity to take the floor today, feigning moral outrage while continuing to finance and shelter the very networks that threaten global security. The international community recognizes this charade for what it is. The world will not forget. India will not forget. Our measured and proportionate response to the Pahalgam attack made that sufficiently clear. We need no lessons from a terror sponsor, no sermons from a persecutor of minorities, no advice from a state that has squandered its own credibility. Mr. President, India will continue to protect its citizens with unwavering resolve.
from Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
A very good evening, viewers. You're watching the latest edition of 6 Stories at 6. I am Rakshita Mishra with you, and we'll start with the top story, viewers. The big expose on the BMW hit and kill case in Delhi. Republic investigation has discovered and uncovered what Delhi police could not. The accused's link with the hospital when Navjot was rushed to. The link has been exposed. So stay tuned, viewers. Story number 2 is the dismissed IAS probationer Pooja Khetkar. She's in trouble again. So is her family. Father accused of abducting a truck driver, truck helper, and her mother has also been booked for obstructing the investigation. Now, story number 3, viewers, on 6 Stories at 6 is what's really brewing in the Bay of Bengal. Now, the US is increasing its footprint in this region that has become a geopolitical chessboard. Officers are camping, US officers camping in Chittagong of Bangladesh. Tri-nation military exercise happening just near the India and Myanmar border. Of course, has set off alarm bells, viewers. Also, Jaish-e-Mohammed has admitted to the death of Masood Azhar's family members, and not just that, during Operation Sindhu, but not just that, it has exposed how the Pak army honored Masood's family during the funeral. It's all on camera. US chief negotiator is in New Delhi to continue the talks for a bilateral trade agreement as India and US are eyeing a breakthrough. And finally, viewers, I will tell you how Gaza is burning. Israel says it's launched the operation, the expanded operation in the Gaza city. We'll get you all of that, but first, let's start with Republic TV's investigation on the BMW hit and kill case, viewers. As shocking details are emerging. Family-owned hospital, delayed post-mortem, and a possible cover-up. Tonight, in fact, Republic TV is exposing the truth behind Navjot's killing and the powerful links that are protecting the BMW killer. Here's a report.
Navjot's wife Sandeep Kaur kept pleading to be taken to a nearby hospital. Yet, the accused drove them 19 kilometers away to New Life Hospital in a Porter van. Republic investigation blows the lid off. BMW driver Gaganpreet's father is a director of the New Life Hospital. This isn't the only link. Killer driver Gaganpreet's uncle is also linked to the hospital.
If you see, the incident took place in the southwest district of Dhaulakua area near metro pillar number 67, and from there the victim was taken over here in the Mukherjee Nagar area. This is the GTB Mukherjee Nagar area where this hospital is, and here you can see this is the information that we have received. And after that, the victim's son has also claimed that if his father would have been taken to a different hospital, if any government hospital or any super specialty hospital, then his life could have been saved. But here you see what we have seen, that
Delhi police has conducted the post-mortem 72 hours after the incident. When asked questions on why Delhi police is going soft on the accused driver, why they did not seek police remand, they remained completely silent.
Mr. Singh, why are you evading questions? Why are you evading questions, Mr. Singh? Is Delhi police trying to save the accused in this case? How are you taking the investigation? Why are you evading questions? Mr. Singh, you have to answer. Excuse me, Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, आपने कस्टडी क्यों नहीं, पुलिस ने कस्टडी के लिए फाइट किया फॉर ये गगनप्रीत की कस्टडी के लिए? क्या एक अटेम्प्ट किया गया था क्या कि उनको फेस वैल्यू पे क्यों लिया जा रहा है? आपने कस्टडी के लिए क्यों नहीं लड़ाई किया, मिस्टर सिंह? मिस्टर सिंह, क्या फेस वैल्यू लेने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं आप लोग? इन्वेस्टिगेशन कहाँ आगे बढ़ रहा है आप ये बता पाएंगे? क्योंकि अभी तक पुलिस के साइड से ये नहीं स्टैब्लिश हो पाएगी क्या लिंक है। तो अब ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन क्या ये एक तरीका है क्या टू गो सॉफ्ट ऑन द अक्यूज? इज दिल्ली पुलिस नॉट गोइंग टू आंसर? मिस्टर सिंह, इज दिल्ली पुलिस चूजिंग नॉट टू आंसर? व्हाई डिड दिल्ली पुलिस नॉट टेक द कस्टडी yesterday? मिस्टर सिंह,
Can Navjot's death be allowed to be one of these luxury murders, with the killer getting away courtesy inaction of the system?
And yet again, the Khedkar family is under the scanner, viewers. From the allegations of cheating, the civil services quota, to now a kidnapping case that has been linked to a road rage case in Navi Mumbai. What started as a routine crash at Airoli signal has now escalated into a shocking abduction of a truck helper, with police tracing the missing truck helper to the Pune home of former IAS trainee, the dismissed IAS trainee Pooja Khedkar. And this time it's her mother, Manorma, who has been booked for obstructing the law.
Once embroiled in controversy over cheating allegations in the civil services examination, the Khedkar family is back in the headlines, this time for a kidnapping case tied to a road accident in Navi Mumbai. It all began on September 13th, when a mixer truck collided with a car at Airoli. The driver, Prahalad Kumar, had no idea what was coming next. Two men from the car forced Kumar into their vehicle and sped away. Shocked bystanders alerted the police, and soon a kidnapping case was registered. The trail of the car led the police to Pune, straight to the house of former IAS trainee Pooja Khedkar. And inside, police found the missing truck helper, shaken but safe. Pooja's mother, Manorma Khedkar, allegedly blocked the police and tried to stop them from doing their duty. A case has now been filed against her, and she has been summoned for questioning.
नवी मुंबई पुलिस यहाँ तपास करने के लिए आए थे, उनको हमने मदद भी दी थी और वो सब पत्रक मनोरमा खेड़कर के बंगले के पास गए थे, जहाँ वो उसका विक्टिम का वो लोकेशन था, वहाँ गए थे। वहाँ मनोरमा खेड़कर और उनके साथी है, उन्होंने कोऑपरेट नहीं किया, गेट बंद किया था, वो भी उन्होंने नहीं निकाला। और जो गाड़ी थी इसमें, वो भी ये करने के लिए उन्होंने कोई कोऑपरेट नहीं किया। उसके वजह से नई मुंबई पथक के जो ऑफिसर थे, उन्होंने चतुर्संगी पुलिस स्टेशन में आकर उन्होंने कंप्लेंट दिया था। उनके कंप्लेंट के जरिए हमने गुना दाखिल किया है। इसमें मनोरमा खेड़कर और उनके साथी के ऊपर गुना दाखिल हुआ है।
The family is already facing charges of quota fraud and is once again in the eye of storm. This time accused of shielding a kidnapping inside their own home. From black and white documents to on-ground raids, the questions around the Khedkar family are only getting louder.
Now we are bringing to focus a rare military drill, a tri-nation military drill in India's neighborhood. The US, Bangladesh and Sri Lankan Air Forces coming together in Chittagong for Pacific Angel 25-3, a mission blending disaster response, humanitarian aid and regional security. Bay of Bengal is the backdrop, but there are alarm bells that are being set off till New Delhi and even Myanmar, because it's happening quite close to the border, and we've seen how Bay of Bengal has emerged as the new political or geopolitical chessboard, viewers. Not just that, the US military jet was also in Chittagong, and there are several air officers, US Army officers who are camping in Chittagong. That's a very, very strategically important place in Bangladesh. Here's more.
Sri Lankan Air Force, Bangladesh Air Force, and the US Air Force. In Chittagong, 3 air forces have come together for a rare joint mission. The US Air Force, Bangladesh Air Force and the Sri Lankan Air Force have launched Pacific Angel 25-3 at BAF Zahurul Haq Base. The 4-day field training exercise is designed to strengthen disaster response, humanitarian assistance and regional partnerships across the Indo-Pacific. For more than a decade, Pacific Angel has been a flagship initiative of the US Pacific Air Forces, bringing together militaries, experts and local communities to build trust and readiness. In this exercise, the 3 forces will work side by side through multiple scenarios. But this time around, the Egyptian Air Force transport aircraft was also seen in Chittagong.
This exercise is taking place at the Zahurul Haq Air Force Base of Bangladesh, and it is involving 120 US personnel and 90 Bangladeshi personnel. This also comes at a time where Myanmar is facing a lot of uncertainty and there are a lot of infighting within Myanmar, and it is almost like a civil war within Myanmar. And the United States and Chinese have been trying to connect with these forces that are opposing the legitimately elected Myanmari government and are fighting against them.
From disaster response drills to establishment of mobile medical sites and critical search and rescue training. Engineering teams are also joining hands with local workers to refurbish a hospital, directly benefiting the community. Meanwhile, medical professionals from all 3 nations are sharing best practices, ensuring better coordination in the event of real emergencies. The location could not be more relevant. Sitting on the Bay of Bengal, Chittagong is especially vulnerable to cyclones, floods and other natural disasters. By training in such high-risk environment, Pacific Angel offers participants realistic challenges, testing their ability to adapt and respond under pressure. Beyond the drills and equipment, this is also about the people. Giving back to the local communities has always been at the heart of Pacific Angel, reinforcing goodwill and mutual respect. The message is clear: the 3 forces are stronger together. Through preparation and interoperability, Bangladesh and the United States, along with Sri Lanka, are reaffirming their shared goal: a stable, secure and resilient Indo-Pacific.
And now, viewers, the truth that once again brings to focus Pakistan's sinister role and the Pakistani army's deep connection with the terrorists. What's unraveling months after Operation Sindoor is a damning expose of the terror state's duplicity. A Jaish-e-Mohammed commander's confession, Jaish-e-Mohammed's confession laying bare Pakistani army's collusion with the terror networks, that's irrefutable. This coming in just months after we showed you the pictures of the army personnel, Pakistani army officers attending the funerals of the terrorists. Pakistan's state and the terror nexus is exposed once again, viewers, and this is another proof. This is an admission by Jaish-e-Mohammed as he exposes the designs of Asim Munir.
Operation Sindoor was India's response to the Pahalgam terror attack and Pakistan's worst nightmare. 9 terror targets, 1 mission: to bring down those who unleashed bloodshed on Indian soil. Months after the successful operation, a Jaish-e-Mohammed commander laid bare the deep-rooted collusion between the Pakistani army and terrorists. These are pictures from May 2025, showing Pakistani army personnel attending the funeral of Lashkar-e-Taiba commander Hafiz Abdul Rauf, a US-designated terrorist. The most concrete proof of how the Munir army is tied to Pakistan's terror networks. And padding up to this expose is the latest admission by Jaish commander Masood Ilyas Kashmiri. He who confessed that the Pakistani army chief ordered salutes for those killed in Bahawalpur.
ये कलह, ये टेररिज्म, ये दहशतगर्दी की बकवास सीने के साथ लगाए इस मुल्क की नजरियाती जुग्राफियाई सरहदों के लिए कभी हम दिल्ली से टकराए, कभी हम काबुल में टकराए, कभी हम कंधार से टकराए, सब कुछ कुर्बान करने के बाद 7 मई को भावलपुर के अंदर मौलाना मसूद अजहर की फैमिली के लोग, बहनें और बेटे और बच्चे रेजा रेजा हो गए, टुकड़ों में तकसीम हो गए.
While Pakistan stands globally exposed on harboring and exporting cross-border terrorism, the older guards of top terror outfits are exposing the alliances. And not just this, Islamabad's bluff has been called out yet again. The commander has admitted that the family of Masood Azhar, the terror group's top commander, was torn into pieces in strikes on Bahawalpur. The confession of state terror nexus is out, and it is only a matter of time that a few remaining Pak sympathizers smell the coffee.
Now, India and the US are back on the trade table after months of deadlock. Tariffs, oil, agriculture, dairy. Sticking points remain, but will the world's 2 largest democracies finally seal a deal? As the US top negotiator is in New Delhi today for a one-day visit, and all eyes are on this talk as they are kick-started after a series of salvos from Washington DC. The ties were going low, but now we see some recuperation. There have been U-turns from Donald Trump, and now all eyes will be on a breakthrough. Here's the report.
India and the United States are back at the negotiating table to work out a crucial trade deal. US President Donald Trump had imposed a massive 50% tariff on Indian goods, a move that New Delhi slammed as unfair and linked to pressure over Russian oil and weapons purchases. The trade talks are taking place after the much-deferred arrival of the US delegation in the national capital. Brendan Lynch, Assistant US Trade Representative for South and Central Asia, is at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry at the Vanijya Bhavan in Delhi. But before his arrival, Trump struck a more conciliatory tone in recent statements and expressed optimism that the trade deal could be finalized soon. Lead negotiators from India and the United States have begun discussions regarding the planned trade deal to resolve arising from high tariff rates that have led to unclear situations from export business.
The team, the US team is here in India. What we learn is that there are talks of trying to at least complete the first tranche of negotiations by October or November this year. Remember, the US and India trade talks were stuck because of certain, stand taken by Indian government that it will not provide any access to India's agriculture sector.
The tariffs have already hit Indian exporters of garments, shrimp and gems. Factories struggling to stay afloat, workers fearing job losses. After months of deadlock, India and the United States are back at the trade table. And now, a US team led by trade negotiator Brendan Lynch is in Delhi for crucial talks with India's Commerce Ministry.
And finally, viewers, we bring you what's really happening in the Gaza city, where Israel's expanded operations have begun.
After a night of heavy airstrikes, the Israeli military announced that its expanded operation in Gaza city to destroy Hamas's military infrastructure has begun and warned residents to move south. A plume of smoke was visible in the distance as scores of Palestinians fled from the north towards the south of the Gaza Strip. Large numbers of people were seen carrying their belongings in the Wadi Gaza area and moving along a seaside road that connects the southern Gaza. As a part of the expansion operation, Al Ghafri Tower, the tallest building in the Gaza Strip, was leveled to the ground. The attack comes shortly after the Israeli army issued the evacuation order. As the Israeli military says, the building hit Hamas infrastructure. The United Nations estimated that over 220,000 Palestinians have fled northern Gaza over the past month. An estimated 1 million Palestinians were living in the region around Gaza City. Earlier today, a United Nations Commission of Inquiry accused Israel of committing a genocide in Gaza and compared the Gaza situation with the Rwanda genocide of 1994. In fact, the expansion order was issued while US Secretary of State Marco Rubio was in Israel, and today he arrived in the energy-rich nation of Qatar. US Secretary of State is set to meet the ruling Emir of Qatar, while the nation is still incensed over Israel's strike last week that killed 5 Hamas members and a local security official.
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates: IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा प्योर मसाला भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना अपने देश का सामान इंडिया सोना इंडिया सोना
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा प्योर मसाला
Not counting gang violence. Great.
You get the worst ideas when you have secularism. Men give birth. No borders. America's a terrible country. These things are almost all outgrowths of secularism. But this generation, you guys want something deeper. You want something more.
U.S. most fiery right-wing speaker and U.S. President Donald Trump's close ally, Charlie Kirk, was shot dead. He was shot straight in the neck while giving speech at a uni in Utah.
Just fired a firearm. Shots fired at UVU, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point.
The 31-year-old was U.S.'s most fiery right-wing speaker.
Speaking to you in my personal capacity tonight as a 26-year-old, I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents. I am here tonight to tell you, to warn you, that this election is a decision between preserving America as we know it and eliminating everything that we love. To hold down the good, decent middle-class patriots striving to build a family and pursue a decent life.
So who was Charlie Kirk?
If you want to have a privileged life in America, very simple. Start acting a certain way.
What do you mean act a certain way?
Get married to one person and stay married to that person and don't abandon them, of which 75% of black men do.
So, okay, we have 2 black men right here. By that statistic, one of us is not going to get married to one woman. So,
okay, I hope you guys defy the odds.
Okay, so do you
Were
think
you raised by two-parent
Yes,
household?
I was.
Okay, good. And that's why you are probably here, because that elevates my argument. Our belief system is that you come down to the most foundational family unit. And when that breaks down so severely, don't be shocked if that group, when it acts that way, stays in poverty over a longer period of time.
I said capitalism is a dead vampire that feasts on the blood of the working class.
Capitalism is a deadly vampire that feasts on the blood of the working class.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that for me?
I don't really want to right now, but like, because like,
Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
So you're feasting on the blood of the working class. How dare you?
Yeah. I know.
How do you feel about that?
We all have to do the best that we can.
No, you don't. Why don't you go live on a farm and not use the fruits of the working class and just be a socialist with your friends? Why?
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Nepal is burning. Gen Z protesters have taken to the streets to bring down the KPOL government. The protesters have been hell-bent on regime change, and KPOL has already resigned as the Prime Minister of Nepal, with several of his ministers in hiding and on the run. But the Gen Z has chosen its next leader, Sushila Karki.
My general concern, current immediate concern is the law and order of the country. And in order to maintain the law and order of the country demands the person who knows about the law and order. And current Chief Justice Sushila Karki is the right option, I think that. But Gen Zs are also demanding the Balen and the Harka Sampang. But they should, I think, in my point of view, they should prepare for the next general election. For that, they should not focus on maintaining the law and order, but they should prepare for anything big.
Sushila Karki is Nepal's first female Chief Justice, serving in the role from July 2016 to June 2017. Karki began her legal practice in 1979 and became a permanent Supreme Court judge in 2010. In April 2017, an impeachment motion was submitted against her in Parliament by the Maoist Centre and Nepali Congress. The motion was later withdrawn following public pressure and an interim Supreme Court order barring Parliament from proceeding. The irony is that KPOL is the one who endorsed her for Chief Justice. During her one-year tenure as Chief Justice, Karki delivered decisive verdicts against some of the country's ministers and powerful bureaucrats. Karki's most notable decision was sentencing the then Information and Communication Minister, Jaiprakash Gupta, to jail while he was still in office, a first in Nepal's history. She also removed the head of the Anti-Corruption Bureau, Lokman Singh Karki, forcing him into exile in Canada. Now the youth of Nepal want her to head the interim government.
Like running country is not a easy thing, so
we must need various experience to run a country. So for the right now, we have only one good option, that is Sushila Karki, because she at least know how to run a country, to manage everything until the next election happen. So we at least have to wait. Other leaders have to wait until the next election, because there will be various chances to come up in front of like Nepal to lead. But for right now, Sushila Karki is the best, because she know everything to manage countries, and
Welcome back, friends. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is turning 75 tomorrow. On the eve of his birthday, we bring to you glimpses, snippets of his leadership, of his vision, of his statesmanship, and his ideas in his own words. The way he has shepherded the country for the last 11 years, and in fact, including his 14 in Gujarat as Chief Minister, his 25 years of his leadership. These are clips of his speeches, his addresses, that gives you an idea of how he shaped India's march to progress over the last decade and more through his vision. Take a look. Let's start with 2014, Narendra Modi's very first Independence Day address.